too good, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's like 4 hours later, and everyone's wondering why you're still on their couch, right? Yeah, no, we're not going there. Mm-mm. That's not what this is all about. This week, we are going to talk about how to use these foods and how to prepare them, or at least have them prepared, so that you can enjoy them. And your stress stays low because, as we talked about last week, the number one concern through the holidays and worry is stress and stress management. People are stressed. They're stressed about their weight. They're stressed about finances. They're stressed about here's these holidays that require gifts and we have to buy them. And how do you pick a gift? And people are stressed for a multitude of reasons, effectively. Food should not be one of them. You should be able to go and enjoy yourself, enjoy the season, enjoy all the flavors of the season. And here's the biggest reason why. We had talked a while ago about seasonal changes and the various flavors of each season. Well, we are in fall. Fall is the season of pungent spices. Now, the reason this is such a big thing, and I'm going to use some Ayurvedic explanations. Keep in mind, this is the case across the world, whether we're talking about Ayurvedic, whether we're talking about traditional Chinese medicine, some of the other ancient Middle Eastern or Southern American traditional healing foods and spices and seasonings. Coffee, by the way, being one of them. Coffee, dark chocolate, red wine, pumpkin pie. Not necessarily my favorite food, but I'm a rarity. My grandmother used to tell me that I am not American because I don't like a lot of the traditional foods. But that's okay. That's not what this is about. All right. So when you're trying to manage stress during the holiday, the last thing you want to think about is managing stress during the holidays. Am I right? So when we're looking at foods that are traditionally served, at least on American platters, now from what I understand, from what I know, and what I've learned, a lot of the flavors are very similar across the world for various reasons. We celebrate Thanksgiving the third week of November. Canada actually celebrates it in October. And I know there's various holidays, religious and otherwise, throughout the year where you're celebrating life, you're celebrating family, loved ones, existence in this world. Okay, so for purposes of this video, we're using Thanksgiving. All right, so why pungent spices? Traditional foods for Thanksgiving are packed full of pungent spices, right? Cardamom, garlic, rosemary, oregano, thyme, clove, anise, allspice. I think that's a blend. Nutmeg, ginger, garlic, cumin. Now, all of these spices in herbal medicine actually help heal. Okay, they can be put into infusions, teas, capsules, supplements. They can be used topically. There's a lot of different ways that we use them in herbal medicine to help people heal from colds, from flus, from allergies, as you can tell. I'm thinking between cedar season starting and some grasses out here and the trees having a little fun, my nose just doesn't know which end is up. So if you are in this place with me, this is what you want to listen to, because these seasonings, these spices are actually in season right now. These are cleansing spices. They're cleansing flavors. They help boost your senses. In Ayurvedic medicine, traditional pungent foods like turmeric and cumin and like cardamom, star anise, ginger, things of this nature, they're considered fire and air elements. Well, fire and air help us stimulate digestion. They help stimulate healthier cravings. Okay, more fruits and vegetables. Now, the fruits and vegetables you're supposed to crave right now are more the squashes and cranberries, apples, things that feel like comfort foods, but in reality, they're not really comfort foods. They're healthy foods. But they're the seasonal produce for November. Have you ever considered the fact that the foods that you're craving could be healthy? Even if you aren't eating a healthy diet, the foods that you crave could be very healthy for you. In November, when you're craving squashes, you're craving things like vegetable soup, tomato soup, a warm cup of tomato soup, and a grilled cheese. The amount of vitamin C, magnesium, protein, and all sorts of other vitamins that you can get in there from just dropping a handful of spinach that's pureed into your tomato soup. Phenomenal. Make your grilled cheese a grown-up grilled cheese. Oh my gosh, you guys. The boys get grilled cheese with cheese and a little bit of avocado. Okay. They are slowly getting some with like some tomatoes in there, some spinach, things like that. But make yourself a grown-up grilled cheese. It tastes amazing, I'm telling you. All right, so let's get back to these pungent flavors. So they stimulate digestion. They stimulate healthier cravings. They actually will clear your sinuses and heighten your senses. So what happens during this seasonal change is obviously allergies play a role for a lot of us. Okay. The seasons are changing, trees are losing their leaves, grasses are starting to kind of settle in and hibernate, right? There's some flowers out. Now, for some reason, the spring flowers and the fall flowers, my olfactory system just does not like them. Um, so I get like this in the spring, I get this like this in the fall. So the mums, the daisies, things like that. I love daisies. Can't smell them very well, but I love them. These things are what are in our world right now. The food that we crave and the foods that we should be eating during this season, the fire and air elements that we should be eating, right? And sniffing and breathing in are associated with basically heightening the senses and stimulating the processes that would traditionally be muted. We're going from summer, bright, vibrant, energetic, lots of sunlight, and we're stimulating or we're shifting into winter where a lot of foods that we eat we can't produce fresh, or at least old time we could not produce fresh. So our body, the homeostasis within our body and those natural processes is trying to get us from this vibrancy of summer into the cold stagnation of winter, but it's trying to maintain that energy without losing it too quickly, because losing energy that quickly is harmful to our health. Okay. Now, going through this shift, that's why these are the flavors of the season. Traditional dishes that are served at Thanksgiving meals, a lot of them were not created just for flavor. I questioned stuffing, but we've already gone over the fact that I don't like a lot of traditional Thanksgiving food. So I'll question it. I'm gonna let y'all eat it, and we're still gonna talk about it as though I'm not opposed to it. And for those wondering, I am not opposed to it because I cannot stand the flavor of it. I can't stand the it tastes like it tastes like mushy bread. It tastes like mushy bread. I cannot stand it. Oh, so for those of you who eat it, we are going to talk about it. I promise not to destroy it for you. There's actually not a lot that's bad about it. Aside from the fact that if you used white bread, enriched bread, unbleached flour bread, you're going to get into some unhealthy factors. But if you're using some whole grain breads, whole grain croutons, traditional stuffing actually was made with rye bread. Bet you didn't know that. Sage is a traditional flavor. So if you're using more of the Italian flavored sage infused whole grain croutons to make your stuffing, kudos, you are on the right track. Using fresh herbs and spices and seasonings helps as well. Now, a lot of them, so like cardamom, star anise, nutmeg, cinnamon, things like that, they're going to come out as powder, right? Fresh means dried because it's the only way for us to use them. Nutmeg is a nut. It's very easy to keep the sucker inside of a spice jar. When you need it, pull it out, do a little, zester with it, and you've got your nutmeg. Now, with rosemary, thyme, sage, Oregano, you guys, if you're suffering from allergies, if you've got cold and flu coming through your house, COVID, anything like that, throw some oregano in everything you eat. No joke. Garlic as well. These are overall healers. Garlic is known as the overall healer. If you're dealing with stagnation, which is very rare during this season, but if you're dealing with stagnation, garlic and sage and onions and rosemary and thyme, they all come together, they flush out, and they act as antioxidants. So free radicals have no chance. Any invaders that your immune system is trying to fight off, those in addition to the cinnamon, the cardamom, the turmeric, things of that nature, are going to help your immune system boost to the max, especially turmeric. Oh, you guys, you have to have a flavor for it. I get it. And we'll go over. I have a recipe for you guys. All right, so all these spices and flavors are great, and we know that when you make stuffing, you're going to use rosemary. You're traditionally use rosemary, you use sage, you use garlic, you use some oregano. Some people use oregano. I've known people who don't use oregano, but you're using these Italian flavors, correct? When you're making sweet potato casserole, or you're making a pumpkin pie or an apple pie, I think cherry pie might be a thing too. And you're making all of these things. Your pumpkin spice latte. Now, granted, not the pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks or from any of the big box stores. We're talking about you individually DIYing a pumpkin spice latte. If you need to know how to make it, let me know. I'll put it up. It's a very easy recipe. Um, and saying that, I might actually record that this afternoon just so that we can just get it out of the way. We'll pop it up on shorts and reels. So anyway, those things, they help boost our digestive system, right? They help boost our immune system. They give our immune system, our digestive system, all of the vitamins, minerals, nutrients that it needs to use the food that we're eating, the macros that we're eating, to boost and provide the energy to produce the white blood cells our immune system needs, to produce endorphins and dopamine and serotonin so that our brain is happy and it's not leaving us sleeping on a couch. Now, you've heard of tryptophan in turkey, and the reason that everyone gets so tired after eating a Thanksgiving meal is because turkey has tryptophan. Nope. The reason you get so tired after your Thanksgiving meal is because either A, you've been running around all day and this is the first chance you sat down to eat, or B, you're eating all these foods that you don't typically eat, things that might be higher in carbohydrates. Not fruits and vegetable carbohydrates, but starches and grains. All right. When you eat those foods on Thanksgiving, but it's not something that's part of your normal diet, your body is in overload and it's going to start shutting things down so that it can catch up. All right. It's like going into work, right? You go into work, or toddlers, all right? Life is just go, 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 go. Things are being thrown at you left and right, and you can't catch a break. So when you get a break, you shut everything else down, you catch up, and then you return to life, right? We have to do it with work. Sometimes it's one of those situations where you've been thrown multiple deadlines and you have to wait till the end of the day when the people throwing the deadlines at you leave so that you can get caught up. But what happens when you get caught up? You have shut everything else down so that you can get caught up. Our body is no different. If you're overloading it with foods that you don't traditionally eat, things that you wouldn't normally eat, then you're going to get a little sleepy. A way to combat that is by using these pungent spices. Now, what does all of this have to do with stress? By feeding and stimulating your digestion, by feeding and stimulating your immune system, this is where your stress hormones live. By boosting each of those, it helps you maintain stress levels. So you're not spiking as much. And while things can still be stressful, it does not eliminate stress. All these pungent foods and spices do is help your body respond more effectively. That's what it helps them do. Okay. By using pungent foods in this fashion, by enjoying them in your dishes, your traditional dishes, what you're doing is you're fueling the response to stress. And you're fueling it in a way that not only does your body want to maintain homeostasis, but it wants to help you spark it and trigger it to the point where in some cases, not in all, but in some cases, it just feels like you're just going with the flow. And it sounds probably out of this world for some of you, but I'm telling you, it is entirely possible. You do not have to wait for Thanksgiving to have stuffing. You do not have to wait for Thanksgiving to have turkey. You can have it any other time of the year. Cranberry sauce, you guys. Now, traditional cranberry sauce, you need your OJ and you need actual sugar, raw sugar. It can be made with honey, it can be made with coconut sugar, things of that nature. Just know that you need that citrus and you need the sugar to add in because chemically what happens is it actually will stimulate the gelatinous production within cranberries to create your cranberry sauce. Now, cranberries are phenomenal for helping us with UTIs, help prevent UTIs. The benefits, the free radicals, or the antioxidants that are found within cranberries, they include the same ones as red wine. So what we're talking about is the resveratrol, your vitamin C, um, antioxidants off the chain because dark, vibrant, deep, rich colored berries help boost those antioxidants significantly. So you don't have to have cranberry sauce just at Thanksgiving. One of the things you can actually do is create your cranberry sauce and then use the cranberry sauce to make cranberry breakfast cookies. It's up on the menu this month. So if you want to know how to make it, go over to the website, go to recipes. It's on November's menu. And that cranberry sauce with your cookies, you guys, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. You get all the benefits of, the healthy nutrients within it. You get the pungent spices of cranberry if you put cinnamon inside of it. Some people put clove and nutmeg as well in their cranberry. I've tried it a couple of years and the people I'm feeding don't really like it. So this year I'm going to leave it out. But from a traditional sense, cranberry sauce does have cinnamon. It has some cardamom sometimes. It has some of the clove. It has some nutmeg. It has the flavors of the season. Now, these flavors spark digestion, spark your immune system, which helps you manage stress. All right, so what dishes could be improved and made healthier? Green bean casserole. I love mentioning this. For those of you who are dairy-free, gluten-free, there's a recipe. I got it. I will put a link below because I am sharing my PDF again. I share it every single year. There are typos inside of it. Just heads up. I will recreate it at some point, but for right now, the recipes are still delicious. They're still good. The green bean casserole is on point. Um, and what I use frozen green beans or I use fresh. If I can find fresh, I'm all in. And what ends up happening is rather than having this canned green bean casserole where everything is mushy and the only crunchy stuff is on the top, it's all crunchy. And by using frozen or fresh green beans, you're getting the protein contents within green beans. Didn't know they were protein-rich foods, did you? Betting that some of you didn't. But there's a lot of protein in green beans. There's a lot of fiber in green beans. You're using onions, you're using mushrooms, you're using garlic in the sauce. Now, when I make it, because I have to go dairy-free, I use cream of coconut or coconut milk. The unsweetened canned coconut milk is what I use to make my mushroom soup. I typically make that the day before, a couple of days before. I want the flavors, I want the onions and the garlic to really infuse before I make my green bean casserole. Not only that, once you put it on the stovetop and you stir everything in, you can actually finish up that recipe in a crock pot. So it's a very simple, easy recipe. It takes you like 5 to 10 minutes, and then you drop it in a crock pot, let it simmer and thicken up, and you're good. And then come Thanksgiving, you mix everything together, the frozen and the fresh green beans, as well as the soup and your fried onions, which if anybody has a recipe out there for making those fried onions, please share. I'm not very good at the fried stuff. So if you have it, please share. I know quite a few people who really appreciate the recipe. So drop it in the comments below if you do not mind. I definitely want to make sure you get credit. Now we talked about stuffing. With stuffing, use fresh. Use the fresh herbs. If you have to use dried, by all means, but if it is at all possible, use fresh herbs. They have them in the refrigerated section. Nowadays, they actually have a little container of it, and it contains turkey or Thanksgiving spices. So it's got all of it in one: rosemary, oregano, thyme, sage. Or it only has the sage, rosemary, and thyme. Couple different ways of doing this. You could also do some frozen herbs as long as they were made with fresh herbs to begin with. Mostly because those are going to get your body best. Okay, those are going to be absorbed in a more usable form. Dried herbs, while they are very helpful and beneficial, they lose something in translation. The benefits are still there. They're just not as potent as fresh. Okay. It's part of the reason using fresh or frozen vegetables or fresh or frozen fruit is even a thing. The frozen vegetables and frozen fruit that we find in our refrigerated sections, those were flash frozen. So that process actually seals in the nutrients of the fresh food. When you freeze things at home, you're not going to have as many of the vibrant nutrients as you would with the flash frozen. Nothing saying that they have to put anything in the fruit or the vegetables that are frozen. So if you get a bag of vegetables, just make sure it's just the vegetables. There's no need to put anything into it to preserve it. It's flash frozen. Done. All right, mashed potatoes. I made a little list because I want to make sure I went through all the traditional recipes. Mashed potatoes. I make mashed potatoes using onions and garlic. So it's a garlic red potato recipe. Red potatoes have as many nutrients, almost as many nutrients. Let me correct myself. Almost as many nutrients as sweet potatoes. Okay. You can use Japanese sweet potatoes, which are the red skin with the white interior, as mashed potatoes using the onions and the garlic. It does come out fairly similar, but I found feeding other people that my best option is the red potatoes. And it's one meal. I use fresh garlic. I actually boil the potatoes with the garlic. And if I need something to thin out my mashed potatoes, because here's what I use. I use a Kite Hill cream cheese, the garlic herb cream cheese, or the chive cream cheese and chive. And then I put a little bit of vegan butter in. All right. Now you can make this dairy or non-dairy. And I boil my potatoes with the whole garlic. Because when I go to mash them, it mashes the garlic up into the potatoes. Not only that, when I'm thinning out the mixture, because if you just put the butter and the cream cheese and the potatoes afterwards and you mash it all up, it's still a little thick. So you're going to need something to kind of thin it out. So I use the liquid from the potatoes I just made, because that's going to have any of the nutrients and microbes that have been boiled out of the garlic or boiled out of the potatoes. It's going to use it. Now, if you are somebody who needs to worry about resistant starch, you're going to want to boil the potatoes, rinse them, cool them down, and the very next day, you're going to want to heat them up again to make your mashed potatoes. Right? Best way to do that is obviously steaming them. I don't recommend microwaving them or baking them. Now, either way, whatever you do, put the garlic in with those potatoes when you go to reheat them. You're removing the resistant starch. So if you have digestive issues, removing the resistant starch is actually a very beneficial habit to do. But you're still getting the benefits of the garlic. And if you're steaming, any nutrients that fall out of the garlic, that drip out of the garlic, are going to go into the water. So you're still going to be able to use said water to thin out the mixture. So you're just using every possible healthy benefit of the spices and the seasonings that we use during this time. That's effectively what you're doing. All right, so I have some recipes for you, but before we get there, I wanted to give you one more tip, okay? Regardless of what you do, start your days, especially the day of, with some sort of an infusion. So a green smoothie of some sort. It does not have to be cold. Think outside the box. We're in a season where in Texas, it's very apparent. One day it's hot, one day it's cold, one day it's hot, one day it's cold. Literally walked outside with a jacket today. It's like 80 and the humidity is off the freaking charts. Off the charts. Like if my hair was curly today, you guys, it would be way up to here. So it's straight, it's humid as all get out, it is hot as all get out. 2 days ago, we're dealing with tornado, temps dropped, and you can't go outside without a coat, boots, and I almost wore a scarf. Yeah, I almost wore a scarf. It was that cold. So this is the season we're in. Your vitamin infusion does not have to be cold. You can do some sort of vegetable soup. So I mentioned my tomato soup and throwing in some spinach or some sort of green that you can puree into the tomato soup, right? Heat that up, have it in the morning. You're drinking your soup, yes. But guess what you're also doing? You're drinking a green smoothie. It's just not cold. Green smoothie is just an explanation for some sort of fruit or vegetable combination that has been pureed and includes green vegetables, typically dark leafy greens. Nothing says it has to be cold. So if you're in the north and right now it's cold for you, start your day with a vitamin infusion in the form of a green smoothie. Make it hot, not a big deal. You could literally throw all the leftover vegetables in your fridge that you didn't get to eat this week into a crock pot with some water. Make sure everything's covered. Pop it in the crock pot, leave it on low for the day. At the end of the day, let it cool, pop it into your blender. Voila, green smoothies for a week. And all you need to do is put it in a cup and heat it up the same way you would reheat coffee or tea. I'm not quite sure what that was. So, sorry guys, signals all over the different place. All right, so okay, all right, we're back. Yay. So now with that vitamin infusion in the morning, just think outside the box. If you have a soup that you like last week I did last month I did minestrone soup. I think a couple months ago I did a butternut squash soup. That tastes amazing first thing in the morning. Throw a little lemon on top. I throw a couple little drops of lemon juice on top. Oh my gosh, you guys! Like it tastes like home. You know that comfy home feeling. And butternut squash is a very sweet squash. So craving sweet, it means you need energy, right? The fruits and the vegetables that taste sweet have a lot of energy available at your disposal. All you have to do is consume them. So make your favorite soup, puree it, put it in the fridge, make sure there's dark leafy greens inside of it. If you put some spinach or some kale in there, you're not really going to taste anything. Right now I have spinach and arugula in my fridge for my smoothies. Don't taste a thing. If you puree it, you're going to get the benefits, you're going to get the fiber, you're going to get the microbes. You are not going to, it's not going to change the flavor of your food. So take a chance, try it. If you do, let me know what you think. And if this is something that you currently do, let's hear it. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to tell you to do is to end your day with something soothing, something that is a micronutrient infusion, something that is more pungent. So we are talking about peppermint teas, cinnamon tea, chai tea. Make sure if you get chai tea that it's decaffeinated if you're drinking it at night. One of my favorite recipes is golden milk. You are more than welcome to Google the recipe. It's effectively coconut milk. It's turmeric with black pepper because the curcumin in turmeric does not activate without that black pepper. You need the two. All right. And for those of you out there dealing with fibro, dealing with RA, chronic fatigue, any of the painful autoimmune conditions, osteoporosis, um, osteopenia, any of that, turmeric, black pepper, and boswellia acid are your best friends. And you need the black pepper for the turmeric. And yes, I know black pepper is stimulating, but you guys, it is actually one of the essential oils that is most helpful when talking about fibro or rheumatoid arthritis. Guys, enough. All right. All right, so let's go back to the recipe because this is one of my favorites. And I never in a million years thought that I would like turmeric. I'm not a fan of the curry flavors. I like a lot of Indian recipes. I like a lot of Middle Eastern recipes. I'm not a fan of curries. So, and I don't traditionally like turmeric, but in this recipe, oh, it's a great combination. It's nice and warm. It just, it's a cup of home. It's a cup of comfort at the end of the day. Cold days, stressful days, the light is getting less, so we're not getting the benefits of the sun as much anymore. This is a great recipe. Golden milk, 8 ounces of coconut milk in the refrigerator, not in the can, please. And make sure it is, it make sure it's a simple recipe. Make sure there's not a lot of additives to it because you're going to miss out on some of those. So coconut milk, turmeric with black pepper, ginger, cardamom, and a little honey. Now here's what I do. Here's my trick to make this easy. I get my turmeric supplement, which has turmeric and black pepper already combined. Okay. And then I also use a chai tea bag. So I heat up my coconut milk the same way you would a cup of hot chocolate. Just simmer it lightly, let it get to a boiling temp, throw my tea bag in, I throw the turmeric and the black pepper supplement in, I stir it up, and I let it steep for a good 5 minutes, sometimes 10. 10 really just boosts the flavor. So if you're having issues like I am right now with allergies, or if you're starting to fight any of the things that are coming through our schools and our houses and work, let it infuse for 10 minutes and then sit and sip it. And oh, heaven, heaven, heaven. If this is not your thing, peppermint mocha using dark chocolate. Make sure it is at least 70% cacao. Yes, it will melt. I promise you it will melt. Enjoy actually has some mini chocolate chips that melt very well in this recipe. Peppermint, cinnamon's another good one. If mint is not your thing, having the dark chocolate hot cocoa, that's beneficial in and of itself. You can make it a raspberry hot cocoa. You can make it a, let me see what else. You can make it a blueberry hot cocoa. You could do so much with these. And each one of these will infuse your body with these micronutrients that help your stress response, boost your immune system. Dark chocolate has magnesium. We've talked about this before. And that magnesium really helps with our, not only the response to stress in our immune system, it helps with dopamine production, it helps with endorphin production, our happy genes. I mean, dark chocolate and our happy genes, man, they love each other. So if the golden milk recipe is not your thing, try a hot cocoa recipe. Your choice. And you don't have to use coconut milk. You could use water. You could use regular milk if you do not have dairy issues. Almond milk, oat milk. I found with almond milk, it feels or it tastes a little thin. So just be aware of that. If you like almond milk and that's in your house, perfect. Tickle. That's how I can tell it's an allergy thing. All right, so a couple of reminders. Make sure you are thinking outside your box. Okay. Make sure. Okay. It had to restart. So make sure you are thinking outside the box. Make sure that what you are doing is using the things that when you eat them wake you up. And you'll know. So if you walk into a kitchen, right? You walk into whoever's house is making a meal and you go, oh, it smells so good. But you lift as you walk in, your senses are going, yes, we want that. Give us more. So if this is your response when you walk into someone's house cooking, or if you walk into your house and these are the spices that you sense as you walk in. If your response is to lift as you walk in, that is your body's silent signal that it likes what it's about to have, that it's going to help wake it up. So keep those spices pungent. As a reminder, rosemary, thyme, oregano, sage, cinnamon, garlic, clove, star anise, allspice. Like I said, I think that's the seasoning. Cardamom. I don't know if I mentioned it. Nutmeg and ginger. Okay, those are your seasonings. And for those of you who want, I'll put the list in the show notes when we're done here, so it's easy. If you want, take a screenshot of that so that you see what they are. If you need a little help managing your stress, put them in your food. It doesn't have to be on a holiday. Just put them in your food. Enjoy your season. We only get the season once a year. Now, if you need something a little bit more than that, meditation every day, 5 to 10 minutes of just breathing, whether it is actively breathing as you're walking or sitting and actually doing meditation, which we talked about. I'm not very good at it either. It helps your just that infusion of oxygen, especially if you're breathing outside. Allergies, it doesn't matter. Like if you're breathing true oxygen from outside, you're getting that external environment, you're connecting with nature, it helps you much more than otherwise. Now, exercise, do not forget to continue to exercise because that helps your body clean the lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system does not clean itself out without muscle movement. So the muscle movement, the breathing, all help with this food infusion in managing and reducing your stress during the holidays. We are going to take this one step further. I recently listened to an episode on Shalene's podcast, which I'll link it down below because it was quite interesting. And it's all about manifestation and how many of us look at manifestation differently. You can manifest a stress-free holiday season. You can manifest a healthier you at the end of the holiday season. First step in my wheelhouse, first step is going to be going and taking your gut health assessment. See where you're starting so that whatever tactics you put into play, whatever steps and strategies and practices you put into play during this season will truly help. It'll truly help you improve your health. we're going to talk about this and dive very deeply into it next week. And we're going to go over a manifestation process that will truly help you. It will help you go from today to January 1st, reducing your stress levels, improving your health, or continuing to do so if you're already on that journey, so that once you hit January 1st, correction, January 2nd, because we got a lot of partiers in our group, you are showing up there a healthier person than you are today. You're showing up a happier person than you are today, because if our bodies are happy, our brains, or if our bodies are healthy, then our brains are happier. Biology. And you're showing up in a place where health is no longer a struggle or work. It is just something that happens every single day. And the practices that started out where you had to mindfully pay attention to them now are just things that happen in your day. All right, you guys. So I will chat with you next week. We're going to deep dive into that manifestation, and we're going to go through a little process that will help you use manifestation the way it should be done. There's a lot of people who miss the steps. And then all you're doing is putting that out there, and it's not helping anything. It's just you voicing your desires into the universe. There's a little bit more to it than that. So we're going to get through that next week, and we're going to continue celebrating the holidays. I've got a couple more. We're going to do the holiday series now through the end of November, and in December, I've got some good. Let's go through this holiday first, because everything that we're talking about through the month of November applies to all the holidays in December. So there's no need to rehash all of this over and over again. I am going to give you the information, and we're going to move forward into something that's a bit more fun and interactive. This is the holiday seasons are topics that I totally geek out about. I love it. So anyway, so manifestation next week. If you have any questions, want to get started on anything, if we need to have a talk to get something put into place so that you have a blueprint for the holiday, DM me or comment. Happy tell me below, and I will chat with y'all later. Bye, guys.